was beautiful. It looked like Disneyland when you walked in. This was my dream, and it's still my dream. It's kind of a nightmare right now. All I can tell you is that it's been horrendous.
I mean, these structural damages that the storms have caused have been a nightmare for so many people. I mean, take Marlene Ruth, for example. You just saw her store collapse. She is the owner of Ruth Dolls and Memories out in Pollock Pines. And what started out as a crack in the ceiling, it turned into a roof collapse in just 5 seconds. And it's reg tag now because it's obviously not safe to go inside. I mean, Marlene Ruth says that it's just too painful for her to see her collection, which, by the way, she started back in 1965 in this state. And she's invested her entire life into this business and says that it's going to cost a lot of money to fix, and she doesn't know if she'll be able to handle it. And Marlene is not the only one dealing with this problem. The roof of the Dollar General store in Pioneer collapsed last night. The store was deemed a total loss, and a spokesperson for the fire district said that 4 people were in the building at the time. Thankfully, everyone made it out safely and no one was hurt. And these storms, I mean, they're not over yet. People are still preparing for flooding as we head into the weekend. We stopped by Isleton along the Sacramento River, where we met Craig Watson at Vieira's Resort, which they have campgrounds, a mobile home community, and boat launches. Craig stopped to talk with us about the floodgates that he's putting up.
Well, basically, when we start getting high water from the snow melt and, the dams being relatively full, we got our gates up because we never know how much water is going to come into the system from Folsom.
And Justin, tonight evacuations are being ordered for River Road along the Tuolumne River in Modesto between 9th Street and Avon Street. The area is marked in red, and the Tuolumne River, it could flood in Modesto overnight. Of course, make sure you're staying up to date with everything. And then take a look at these pictures from Caltrans up in the Tahoe area. Look at this. You can see how high those snow walls are. I mean, they're taller than the vehicles that are clearing a path for the snow. Carly, these pictures. Yeah. It's actually really hard to imagine.
Right, because you also have to consider when you're looking at those, they have pushed all of that off the roadways and it's piling up. So people are thinking, is that really how much we got? But you have to remember they're piling it up on top of other snow that's been piled up. So, it can be a little bit confusing and how much is out there. But the biggest concern now is all of that rain that is moving on top of that snow. At the lower elevations, around 4,000 feet and below, we are seeing a lot of that water running off into the streams, creeks, rivers, and we are looking at that flooding potential for a lot of neighborhoods there. Take a look at the rain we've gotten since midnight, about a ½ inch from Sacramento to Stockton, 3/4 of an inch in Fairfield, about 1 1/4 inches in Placerville, 1 1/3 inches there for Sonora. That number's a little off there as it's getting a little confused with how much rain and snow keeps coming into this area, but you can see at Truckee about 1/3 of an inch on top of some areas of snowfall. We have been getting a lot warmer temperatures with the atmospheric river moving through. So because of all this rain that's pushing into those creeks, streams, rivers, we are now looking at a lot of the major reservoirs releasing water to make room for this excess water and rain and runoff that's coming off of that snowpack. Shasta, 62% of full right now, 75% in Oroville. Folsom 60%, and Folsom's usually used as a flood control gate, not necessarily to save necessarily all that water, but as a control for the urban areas around it. 30,000 cubic feet per second being released from Folsom, 15,000 Oroville, 3,200 or so for Shasta. This means the rising rivers are expected for areas like Cosumnes, Michigan Bar, McConnell. We're looking at above flood stage potential. We have seen a downgrade now from McCollum and Tuolumne rivers, although we are seeing a lot of water rush through that area. It is being downgraded just briefly, at least for now, as the forecast is supposed to be below flood stage. Of course, we'll talk more about the weather coming our way for the weekend and next week coming up.
All right, thanks, Carly. And as more rain and snow move in, the Oroville Spillway opened for the first time in about, 4 years. But why should people even care? Or Brendan Ritterman tells us why.
If there's an unofficial image that means your drought days are over, you're looking at it. That's the Oroville Spillway. Officials activated it around noon today, and our cameras were rolling when they did. And I have to say, standing at the base of this thing, you get a whole new appreciation for the power of nature. The weight and force of all of the water coming down this spillway was really something to see. Interestingly, this is only the second time this spillway has been used since the 2017 incident where mass evacuations were forced in Butte County because of a failing dam structure. Officials now feel very confident about this spillway. They say they were out here with engineers watching it the last time it was turned on in 2019, and today they're not experiencing any problems with it whatsoever. The reason they're doing all this is to get ready for the massive storm system that has just begun to pummel us, the second real big system of atmospheric river storms. The idea is to make sure Lake Oroville has plenty of room.
The operation of the spillway is intended to keep the lake at a certain elevation so we can hold reserve storage for upcoming storms to provide flood protection.
The water management at play here is really like trying to thread a needle. They're bleeding out Lake Oroville into the Feather River, but they want to make sure that they leave enough room for all the snow melt that's going to be happening in the spring. At the end of it all, water managers do expect to have a full Lake Oroville headed into the summer season, and that is a good sign for everyone. In Butte County, Brandon Rittiman, ABC 10 News.
And remember to download the ABC 10 app. It's free. You can stay up to date with the latest information on weather conditions, road and school closures, and you can also upload your photos and videos so we can see exactly what's happening in your neighborhood. And here are some other stories that people are talking about today. 18 people have been arrested for allegedly attempting to contact a minor for sex and other related crimes. This was part of an undercover operation, and law enforcement officers posed as online children as young as 13 years old. And of the 18 arrests, 3 are registered sex offenders and 1 is on felony probation. And a man walked into the Ukrainian American house in Rancho Cordova with a long gun yesterday. He threatened people inside the building before heading back outside the building, and it turns out it was an airsoft rifle. The man was taken to the hospital for a mental health evaluation. Book bans and a youth drag event were the hot topics of last night's public comment at the Roseville Joint Union High School District's Board of Trustees meeting. Speaking about proposed bans and a youth drag event that was canceled. The topics, they weren't even on the agenda, but for context, a fundraiser for a youth LGBTQ group that involved drag was canceled a couple weeks ago because of community uproar. And we first brought you the story on To The Point. So if you do want to read more about it, all you have to do is go to abc10.com/tothepoint. Today was a moment decades in the making. Stockton's Kristen Smart was killed back in the 90s. After the break, what we know about her suspected killer's fate. It was a moment decades in the making. The man convicted of killing Stockton's Kristen Smart was sentenced today, and we've been covering this case on To The Point. I want to go ahead and bring in Alicia Machado because she joins us live in studio with more on what happened today. And Alicia, Kristen was killed back in 1996, but her body has still not been found yet.
Yeah, Alex, Smart's body still has not been found, and her family is hoping that today's sentencing means someone will come forward with information. Smart's convicted killer, Paul Flores, was just sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. The sentencing comes about 5 months after a jury found Flores guilty. He was one of the last people seen with the 19-year-old college student and Stockton native. She disappeared in 1996 while attending Cal Poly San Luis Obispo on the Central Coast. Today, the family spoke after the sentencing, saying they now have a sense of peace.
Today is a day not really of joy. It's a day of relief that Kristen's voice was heard.
As the judge pointed out, it's a sentence, but it doesn't bring back your loved one. So from that aspect, we don't have closure.
San Luis Obispo County Sheriff Ian Parkinson says he agrees with the sentencing in Smart's murder, saying it was a long time coming. The sheriff says the case is still not closed, though, until Kristen Smart's body is returned to her family. Alex.
And Alicia, you said that Flores was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. What's the likelihood that he'll be required to serve that full sentence?
Yeah, well, Alex, Chris Pavrell, a prosecutor in the case, says there is a possibility he could get out early on parole. He said California has enacted earlier paroles in some cases, even murder cases. So he says realistically, in 15 years, he might be able to go out for parole. Kristen's sister, though, says they plan to make sure he doesn't get out.
All right, Alicia, thank you. All right, after the break, it's almost time for the 95th Academy Awards. We've got a sneak peek from the red carpet with the one and only, you already know, Mark S. Allen. Well, just when you thought the weekend couldn't get any better, we got daylight savings time rolling in, right, Carly?
I know. We got the rain, the downpours, the showers. You're trying to plan your whole weekend around that, and now you're looking at daylight saving time on Sunday. If you didn't know, you're rolling your clocks ahead an hour, so you do lose that hour of sleep, and we will fast forward that at about 2 a.m. on Sunday. So if you had plans to go out, well, you're going to have to come in a little sooner. All right, low pressure systems pushing the atmospheric river into Southern California. We have 2 more out there, and they'll actually tap into the similar atmospheric river that's bringing us a lot of that rain, that warmer air that's been pushing through here. That is going to start moving in once again as we get into Tuesday, even strong there. But as we take a look here, we have a winter storm warning still in effect until 10 a.m. for the Sierra, and then the flood watch through 10 a.m. as well. From really Redding all the way through the Central Valley, we have that potential for flooding due to the excess rain, but also rising rivers, creeks, and streams. That is happening because all that rain is moving over snow, and that's creating that snow melt pushing down from the foothills into our rivers, where we are looking at potential for flood-prone areas. Now, Sunday night, 7:30 p.m., we'll finally get things slowing down just a bit, but we do have scattered shower chances that are leading to thunderstorm chances for the next 3 days. Here's the next atmospheric river. Tuesday, this is going to be a pretty powerful one, too, as we're going to see a lot of that rain, but also that mountain snow. Quick break, actually. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that's when you want to get things done. Then we have the next one coming in for the following weekend. I know a lot of people are like, why on our weekends? And that's just the way it is. All right, as we take a look at our model for the snowfall totals, we are seeing an additional maybe 1.5 to 3 more feet of snow, according to the GFS model. The European model, though, kind of downgrading it a little more. So we are anticipating more snow headed our way through Sunday, but after that, we'll see several feet more of snow from Monday through Wednesday morning. Now, taking a look at the rain totals, we are seeing additional anywhere from about a ½ inch to an inch of rain in the valley, and maybe a little bit more than that in Sonora area, around maybe 2 more inches. Here's that huge atmospheric river pushing in on Tuesday, just really inundating us with that wet weather, as well as a lot of that Sierra snow clearing out by Wednesday, Thursday. The next one for that following weekend. It's just kind of not ending for us, is it? We're just kind of, I know a lot of people are saying, when are we getting that break? Well, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, partly cloudy skies, but we do have a few chances on those day-to-see showers, but nothing like what we've been seeing lately. This weekend, we're still looking at thunderstorm chances with more of that wet weather into the following weekend. Alex.
All right, Carly, thank you. Every Friday, our John Bartel is hitting the back roads, and this one's for all you pinball wizards out there. This week, John Bartel is taking us out to the Pacific Pinball Museum in Alameda.
If The Who was looking for a modern-day pinball wizard like the one they sang about in their classic 1969 hit, they would most likely find them on Webster Street in Alameda. Though it looks like an arcade, this game-filled room is actually a museum, the Pacific Pinball Museum.
The oldest one that we have here is 1869.
Museum founder and curator Michael Sheesh isn't just passionate about the game, he's also passionate about the history of pinball.
It's so entrenched in American history and culture, and people don't even realize, that it's been here since we declared our independence.
Before it was called pinball, the game was called bagatelle, and it was a French invention brought over to the US before the Revolution as a way to pass time and make a little money.
It was pretty much a gambling game.
That's right, a gambling game.
Why? Because people wanted escapism. You play for a penny and you could win like a dime. That was a lot.
Over time, pinball became wildly popular, especially when the mob started buying them up during the Great Depression. But in 1942, New York Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia put the kibosh on the game.
Mayor LaGuardia said, hey, well, these things are just as bad as slot machines because little kids are playing it.
In towns across America, pinball machines and arcades were outlawed, including the city of Alameda.
Until 2014, we got it removed. We went into city council.
Today, the Pacific Pinball Museum highlights the evolution of the machines as they go from springs and bells to electromechanics.
Everything here looks very complicated.
As As pinball technology got better, so did the graphic art. The colorful images were not only key to marketing, but they were key to the game as well.
It also integrates into the theme and the story that's told when you play the game.
You won't win any money or prizes at the Pacific Pinball Museum, but after paying your admission, all the games are free.
Yeah, I love it.
And that's a good thing, especially if you want to learn how to play a mean pinball.
Doesn't take brawn. It just takes an understanding of gravity and vectors.
From the Pacific Pinball Museum, I'm John Bartel. Hope to see you on the back roads.
And this weekend, John Bartel teams up with Mark S. Allen for Bartel's Backroads Goes to the Movies, a tour around California's most famous film locations. You can watch this Sunday at 2 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. right after the Oscars. And ABC 10 is on the ground in Hollywood as it gets ready for Hollywood's biggest night, of course. Mark S. Allen has a look at all the preparations that are underway.
Alex, welcome to the 95th Annual Academy Awards. We're on Hollywood Boulevard. I'm standing in front of Oscar himself. But did you know Oscar should be called Emilio? And I'll tell you why. Emilio Fernandez in the 1920s was a cinematographer and actor and was actually asked to model for it naked, I'm told. Why they call it Oscar, not really sure. All right, 600 labor hours to lay the red carpet, another 600 to put this plastic on it because it's raining right now, buckets everywhere. We are told, and they hope, the weather's going to clear up. In 48 hours, the stars will be coming down this red carpet. Let's talk about Best Picture. Based on what happened last weekend, I think it's going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm pretty much sure that is a lock, which is ironic. It's the lowest budgeted of all the movies they made this year that got nominated for the Academy Award. And it has the highest Rotten Tomatoes score of 95. If Michelle Yeoh wins, she's going to make history. In fact, she's already made history for being the first Chinese woman in that category ever. Same movie and a great Northern California story in the Best Supporting Actress race. Jamie Lee Curtis spent her entire childhood hanging out with Grandma and Grandpa in Stockton. Her mom, Janet Leigh, is from Stockton. In fact, right now there's Janet Leigh Square in Stockton, so check that out. All right, for all of my bold predictions, go to the ABC 10 YouTube channel, or of course, just hang out with me and my camera guy, Julian. We're going to be standing next to Emilio all weekend. Back to you.
And you know, we had to make Hollywood's biggest night even bigger. You've got the chance to win a brand new iPhone 14. All you have to do is just scan the QR code on your screen, or you can go to abc10.com/Hollywood, put in your name and email, and you'll be entered to win. A redesigned and modernized exhibit is opening this weekend at the California Museum in downtown Sacramento. It is bringing Japanese American stories to life, and our photojournalist Rachel Kim gives us a look at Uprooted, an American story.
So tonight was the private opening of Uprooted, an American Story, which is our new exhibit about the Japanese American incarceration.
This is a time when we can tell our story, that we were ripped out of our farms, our homes, our businesses, thrown into a prison condition.
I'm out of the 36 young men that was in Block 42 who refused. I'm the last one that's still here. I'm 99 and 9 months old today. 36 of us who refused to sign a so-called loyalty oath because we were not treated like American citizens. We were forced out of our block, and we got forced onto a truck, and they took us to county jail. And I went to Klamath Falls County Jail. Look out from behind the bar is much different than looking in behind the bars. I still remember looking out for the first time out of the bar.
And hopefully, the next generation will know that it is their responsibility to know their rights as American citizens and residents, and defend those rights and make sure that something like this doesn't happen to them or to another group.
And the exhibit officially opens to the public this Sunday. Hope you have a great weekend and stay safe. We'll see you on Monday. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.